But the reason why the Franco-Russia alliance came about is because Russia was in debt to the French. And so there they had to be, so since Russia was in debt with the French, their alliance was unavoidable. And England, United Kingdoms, wanted a war with Germany. And so plans in the woodwork before Kaiser Wilhelm II ever knew, to a certain extent, the Russians, the French, and the United Kingdoms were building up their military and planning a war upon Kaiser Wilhelm II on Germany. And of course, America had a gentleman's agreement with England. But most of the American people were against the First War. And of course, Germany did have an Austria-Hungary alliance because they were allies. But most of America didn't want the war. But the reason why they entered into war is because of Wall Street. And so America entered the war. And so Russia already started attacks. Before the first war broke out. And so they struck first, and Kaiser Wilhelm, Germany, and Austria-Hungary then struck back next. But he didn't want war. Germany was unprepared for war. And the Russians, French, to a certain extent, Russians, French, United Kingdoms were trying everything in their power to prevent Germany from building up their military. Because Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany, were in the construction of building up their military. And when the war broke out, they were unprepared for the war. They were in progress on making themselves a good military to protect their interests, commerce, and so forth. So Germany was not responsible for the war. It was Russia, Franco Alliance, United Kingdoms that started the war, not Germany. And the only reason why Kaiser Wilhelm lost the war is because their military was unprepared, and the radical leftist revolutionists caused the downfall of the German Empire, the Bolshevik, and the radical fanatical leftists communist, socialist, Marxist ideas that were developing throughout Europe. The revolutionists often met in France. Revolutionists met in Russia. And so all these various different factors led to the defeat of the German Empire. And of course, when America finally entered the war, the Russian, or I should say Germany, the war, they lost the war. But they, even with what resources they had, they could have won the war. But when America came in, and Europe was getting their butts kicked, when America came into the war, it led to the defeat of the German Empire, plus all the radical revolutionists that were behind the scenes during that time. Germany didn't want the war. They weren't planning to take over the world with conquest. So the fact of the matter is, and America should have stayed out of the war, because England, our United Kingdoms, the Franco-Russian alliance, attacks on Germany was unjustified. And Germany was completely thrown off guard. And Germany tried to do everything in their power to try to keep the peace. And even when the outbreak, when the war was going on, Germany was trying to bring about peace. So the fact of the matter is, America should have stayed out of the war. It was an unjustified war. I think Kaiser Wilhelm II in Germany was there. Fighting back was justified. America should have established alliances with Germany. Britain should have established silent alliances with Germany. And of course, France should have eventually established alliances with Germany, but it was not to be. And because of the loss of that war of the German Empire, led to the unstabilization of Europe, led to the rise of Hitler, led to the rise of the Soviet Union, and etc. Had Germany won the war, first war, there wouldn't have been Hitler. And I think to a certain extent the Bolsheviks in Russia would have been and the Soviet Union, those kind of things would have been limited. And I think we would have had a lot more stable Europe today in the world today. I believe in the restoration of the German Empire. I believe in the restoration of the European monarchs from 1900 to 1918, so to speak. And I believe in the restoration of the Republic of the United States of America. America should stay a republican. And Europe should restore their monarchs. I believe in a constitutional monarch, constitutional empire, and this great republican of the United States of America. And biblically, these ideas, these beliefs, this idea of what I'm believing, what I'm communicating to you, lines up with the truth, with the Word of God. And I will establish that from the Bible.
Contents. Hyde. 1. Biography 1.1 Early years. 2. Next to the throne. 3. Break with Bismarck on labor policy. 4. Wilhelm in control. 4.1 Dismissal of Bismarck. 4.2 Promoter of arts and sciences. 5. Personality. 5.1 Anti-Semitism. Biography. Wilhelm was born on the 27th of January 1859 at the Crown Prince's Palace in Berlin to Prince Frederick William of Prussia, the future Frederick III, and his wife, Victoria, Princess Royal of the United Kingdom. He was the first grandchild of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, but more importantly, as the first son of the Crown Prince of Prussia, Wilhelm was, from 1861, the second in the line of succession to Prussia, and also, after 1871, to the German Empire, which, according to the constitution of the German Empire, was ruled by the Prussian king. He was related to many royal figures across Europe, and as war loomed in 1914, Wilhelm was on friendly terms with his cousins the Tsar Nicholas II of Russia and King George V of the United Kingdom. 1. He often tried to bully his royal relatives. 2.
Anti-Semitism, false. Trying to bully his relatives, false. He was straightforward, frank. And didn't like to sugarcoat things like some people like to do.